Yes, yan. Okay. We're live. I'm having good Thursday, everyone. Again, I'm Chris, CEO and founder of Wycoco Tax. This is a virtual tax and bookkeeping service solution in the US. I'm a business coach, 2018 Minority Business of the Year in Texas. I specializes on teaching you guys how to build a six-figure revenue in less than a year in a recession-proof and virtual economy. This is a Chris and Jill live chat. What we're doing here is we're serving the global community of entrepreneurs, and this is every second and fourth week of the month. Our vision is to build or a world-class digital global space where mentors and coaches share learnings, education, and programs to enrich the knowledge, skills, and mindset of entrepreneurs from around the globe. Yes, talking about the globe because our speaker is also international. The mission of the Chris and Jill live chat is to educate, empower, and inspire the global community of entrepreneurs, build and inspire a generation of thought leaders, influencers, dream builders to create and support a digital network for present and future entrepreneurs. Ready na ba kayo? Are you guys ready? Okay. I would like this live chat won't be possible without my co-host for today. I'm always inspired whenever I talk to her. She's full of energy. She is a serial entrepreneur, community leader, and business coach. She has a great passion for writing, entrepreneurship, social media management, personality development, and a public speaker, a licensed occupational therapist, and runs her own company, Excellence Therapy Solutions, in Dallas. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. And she has an upcoming fashion show. This is the Jill and Jog Couture with the designer and also the chair of the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce. She, on her profession, she has received an outstanding occupational therapy award from National Therapy Service, and also the former editor-in-chief of the Asian Beat newspaper. Do I have to say more? No other than Coach Jil Lasaca. Good morning, Coach Jill. All right. Some technical. Okay. Since we're waiting for Jill, right now we cannot hear you. I think there's some the weather in Texas is very bipolar. Let us move on. Our topic for today, for all the business owners out there, are you having a hard time right now retaining and keeping employees? But just a reminder, you're not alone. This is a global understanding the Great Resignation. This is a global situation that everyone is experiencing. Moving on, what this conversation will not be possible for us without our expert. And this is the time that our expert has more than 22 years. He will be our co-host for today to understand and to talk about what the employers can do with this great resignation problem. Now, he started as a professional, his professional career on operations and transition and human resources. Work in all spectrum of industry, captive, outsourced, and support management. Work with companies like DHL, DuPont, Canon, United Health Group, you name it. He has a degree in sociology. Oh, sociology, it's very important to understand human behavior, what motivates them. The degree in sociology in Polytechnic University of the Philippines, diploma in industrial relations, UP Soler, certified human resource professional, certified professional manager, certified life coach, certified emotional intelligence practitioner, certified speaker, the founder. I'm part of this group. Oh my God, I can't imagine how this guy is a beast. He was able to establish the founder and president of the Philippines HR group. Guys, this group has 266,000 members. Can you imagine? It's so hard. I even have like 900 in my Facebook, and this guy has 266 members on his group. An HR consultant, global event speaker, main host of Virtual HR Cafe. He has a YouTube channel also. They have the Virtual HR Cafe program. Then former radio host of DZRJ. School of Life program. Let us all welcome Coach Darwin Rivers.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Jill. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yes, let us
Okay,
all
good
greet
morning.
our listeners. Good morning, everyone. And we have now our coach. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's 9 p.m. here in Manila, and I'm very happy to virtually hosting or co-hosting this program with you all the way from here in the Philippines.
Exactly. That's why I said global. It's we're inviting speakers from different parts of the globe. Then thank you for the invitation. I know your time is very limited right now, so let's hit the nail on its head. I,
Sure.
Understanding the Great Resignation. That is our topic. The strategies to help companies combat the effect of the Great Resignation. But before we talk about the strategies, what are the main reasons of keeping employees nowadays?
Well, I think if we're going to talk about the Great Resignation, let's do an ano muna. Let's do a salute to the person who coined the term the Great Resignation.
Mm-hmm.
It's Professor Anthony Klotz of Texas A&M University. He's the
Oh.
person who actually coined the term the Great Resignation,
Mm-hmm.
and he predicts that a large number of people will be leaving their jobs after the COVID pandemic ends and would return to life under a new normal condition. So, you were asking, no, what is the reason why it's important for employers to keep employees? Well, there's a saying: it's
Mm-hmm.
more costly to hire than to retain. Kasi if you keep
Yeah,
on losing people, you will be you will be investing on sourcing, recruiting, and being able to find the right candidate. Um, and that costs a lot of money.
exactly.
So what companies should be doing is they should be retaining employees, because these people would have not only the skill, but would also have uh, the loyalty, and would have imbibed the culture of our organization.
Yeah, actually,
And
you have
it's
a
being
very
threatened right now, because of the Great Resignation.
Yeah, you have a very good point about the retention. That it's actually more expensive according to the research, that it's 5 times higher
Correct.
to train and hire and find another. Everybody is on the same boat right now. I can relate because we are an outsource for payroll here in the US.
Mhm.
And every now and then, let's say a new company that has an ice cream parlor, because business owners, they are driven. They dream big, like putting one ice cream parlor from one city to another. She hired from 17 people. Less than a month, it turned down to 10. And then
Mhm.
she hired another 20, but those another 10 are new hires again. And then less than 3 months, they quit. Then the manager is kind of like very overwhelmed. She
Agree.
doesn't know how to really, it's a supply of demand. There's so much demand, but there's no supply of manpower.
If
Now,
you're losing people, you're losing money.
exactly, and that's why it's loss on sales. But now, what do you think are the main reasons of employees not keeping their jobs?
Okay, if we're going to see it at the context of the Great Resignation, what are the drivers of why are we seeing people resigning, walking out of their jobs? And this is not only by a dozen or by the hundreds; it's by the thousands
Mm-hmm.
and millions. If I'm not mistaken, last year in 2021, there are more than 10 million people in the U.S. alone who've walk out of their jobs, and they've said that they would no longer want to work. And this is not only happening in the US, but also in parts of Europe, in
Mm-hmm.
Asia Pacific. It's a global phenomena that started in the US. The drivers would that I would say number one will be self-realization.
Yes.
um, a lot of people during the times of pandemic, they were able to force to rethink about what's more important in their life.
Mm-hmm.
What's more important in their career? What are the things that they're looking at in terms of working conditions? What are their long-term goals? Now, because of that realization, that self-realization of people, if they feel that their current job or their current career, their current organization or company does not align to it, then they leave. So number one is self-realization. Second would be the safety concerns. So as
Yes.
you know, during the rise of the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic, people are really we're seeing people dying. We're seeing people.
Mm-hmm.
We were very at loss on how this virus spreads. Initially, we know that it's affecting people who are old age, but we were seeing a lot of people, even younger people, dying. So there were safety concerns,
Mm-hmm.
and as many people were going back to their workplace, they fear to go back to their workplace because they fear that if they go back to their workplace, if they go back on site, then it would mean that there is a lot of probability for them to be sick. Because, of
Mm-hmm.
course, being in a workplace, it's an enclosed community with a lot of people, then it's either you get a disease, right? If
Yes.
especially if you're not fully vaccinated or if you're not well protected. Yeah?
Yeah.
So there was a safety concern issue also.
Yeah, that's actually right. Like people chose to stay and take care of their family rather
Correct.
than there's so many paranoia. Like they're not sure whether they're safe working in the environment, the workplace, because there are COVID cases that are asymptomatic. You don't
Correct.
know whether they're carrier or not, and then they just realize that they got it from the workplace. Then
Correct.
that's
And
the reason why
you
that.
might not transmit it to your family member when you go home, right? When you might transmit it to someone whose immune system is not as strong as not as strong as your immune system.
And that
So
that was my fear before going to the Philippines when my mom last year actually, or I mean 2020, I'm supposed to go home, Darwin. Then when COVID hit, I already booked my ticket on December. Then the COVID happened
mhm,
April. I don't have a choice because I'm a nurse by profession, but I do know that I might be asymptomatic. I just maybe my immune system is strong, but I'm worried for my parents because that's your worst fear is you will be the one transmitted the virus, but then you're just helpless to go home. So
correct.
that's why I have to reschedule and rebook it for 2021 with all the quarantine because there are some nurses that I know, some of them are my clients and friends, their parents died of COVID. They didn't have a choice. So that's why all of them they said, you know what, it's not worth it. They suffer this mental stress, the emotional stress of losing. They quit their job in the hospital and then they just decided to
You
have
rather
their
stay at
own
home.
therapy.
Agree.
Yeah, the telehealth. So that's
Mhm.
why how about, do you think the working environment, corporate culture is also like a big factor?
Yes, actually, part of the drivers for the Great Resignation would be the new way of work. When we say the new way of work, a lot of companies are now adopting a flexible work arrangements. A lot of companies right now are looking into telecommuting, working from home, or working remotely. So, because of the flexibility of schedule
Mm-hmm.
that other organizations are offering, so um, people who used to work on site or used to work in the office, who would have fear in going out of their homes, would rather work uh, remotely or work at home, 'di ba? So what happens is the new way of work is an opportunity for them to resign from their current job and shift to another career. Another drivers of the Great Resignation is yung work-life balance mentality.
Oh my
And
God,
this
yes.
this is this is predominantly with the Gen Z, the millennials, and our generation Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So many young workers right now, especially the young generations, as I mentioned, they are seeking to gain a better work-life balance. So basically, this is they see it as part of their working experience and career growth. They don't want to be tied on an 8-hour job. They don't want to be tied on a desk job. They don't want to be tied on something routinary. They want to see
Mm-hmm.
themselves. They have a different definition of work-life balance, wherein you can work while strolling into the beach. You can work
Yes. Mm-hmm.
while lying down at the comfort of your own gazebo or your own garden, right? So those are the things that also drives the Great Resignation.
Yes,
One
actually,
last thing. Mhm.
yeah, actually, what you mentioned, Darwin, is in California right now where we at in Brownsville. The SpaceX is already here, and Elon Musk, he put his company's Tesla. There is actually a massive migration of tech companies from California here in Texas. Especially when pandemic happened, and also they do realize that employees can work from home and they give them more flexibility. That's the reason why you're saying about the flexibility. It's not just the working hours but also the workplace. That's It's very
Correct.
convenient, and then Texas has a more tax friendly state. Those are the reasons. That's why Texas is getting all these tech companies and giant companies. So that's why its flexibility is very important also for Gen Z. Like me, we have staff that they are accountant but they also have kids. We want to make sure that they're also there for their kids while they're working, so there's a
Mhm.
balance there, right? So you're saying that there's another reason for this
Yeah. Another
motivation.
drivers for the Great Resignation would be the effect or the long-term disability of COVID-related diseases. We've know that COVID primarily affects um, what you call this uh, our lungs, our
Hmm.
respiratory system,
Yes.
but medical research would tell us that it's not only our respiratory system, it also affects our not only our lungs, but also our brain, our heart, our
Hmm.
kidneys, our spleen, our major organs. And some people develop a long-term disability. And because of this disability, the desire to go back to their previous or their life prior pandemic um, is really hard for them. So they look into something new, or would say something that would cater to their current disability. And last, Chris, the
Hmm.
last thing that I feel would be the main drivers for the Great Resignation is what we call the welfare trap. And this is
Yes.
predominantly for first world countries like you guys in the States. This is a lot of countries are giving away COVID stimulus payments or unemployment benefits or
Hmm.
unemployment checks or unemployment benefits, as we call it. So people who have low wage jobs would rather stay at home and just wait for their check to come in, coming from the government, rather than go out and work because instead of um, having to buy your gas, buy food while working, spending the expenses related to working outside, they would rather wait for unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
Just okay to pay for their I know their daily needs. And there was a time, right, that even amortization or rent were put into a halt,
Deferred,
diba?
yes.
It was
So
deferred.
Yeah, on our accounting company, you're very right, Darwin. Because of this, there are benefits, and sometimes the benefits are way higher than the minimum wage. So why do regular employee would go to work where they can actually earn money without working? And that's the problem, because the state has benefits, the IRS give benefits, there's housing, there's Medicaid. Those are the challenges. That's the reason why it's very controversial now. Because of this reason, people have are buying houses left and right. Then that's the reason why the inflation rate is at all-time high for the past 40 years, because people um, people that are receiving benefits, they don't spend wisely. They're buying these things left and right, but they and that's the problem. There's so many demand. Now the supply went down. Like, so many right now, they cannot supply the household goods because people are buying left and right. That's the reason there's a continuous debate about this, and they're trying to tweak it. Now, as an employer, we're also like carrying all this baggage, all this problem, because we don't even know how to compensate. Now it's not just about the money, it's about the benefits. Then going back, and we have this issue as an HR. What do you think maybe the strategies, at least of the employers, to do in able to minimize this and retain the employees?
Well, there's a lot of strategies that companies or employers can do. One
Mhm.
of it is incentivize loyalty. You know what, Chris? If we have to pay people enough to take the issue of money off the table,
Mhm.
then people will not leave your organization. Um,
We lost you there. Right now, for our viewers, if you have questions, if you're experiencing the same, feel free to comment to the section below. And while our expert guest is here, we would be able to actually supplement or help and answer those questions. Now we have Darwin has an issue for technicality.
I'm back.
Coach Jill, you're oh my
Yes,
god.
thank you, Chris. I know the technical issues can be a challenge when we do this, but like great things, we can always come out of it. But going back to the important conversations during the pandemic, Chris, being a frontliner, we are out there, evaluating, seeing patients. So I really have to take a deep uh, step back and reflect on how things were. So the great resignation to me was also a reset. It was also an opportunity for reassessment. And I think as we've seen so many deaths and we've seen so many challenges to and risk to our health, it was really an opportunity for us to reflect on the importance of our life, the importance of our job, and the balance that we need so that we can remain engaged, we can remain meaningful in our and relevant in our balance of life. And I think those are where some of the things I was reading. One of the expert from the Harvard University, and saying that throughout the during this great resignation, very important things, people are demanding better jobs, better incentives, better balance in the life
Mhm.
and work, and better opportunity. But it has also sprung a unique phenomenon, Chris, the
Mhm.
hustle industry, the hustle business.
Yes, that
We've seen people. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So that's why I've said that the most important or valuable asset right now are people, more than the product or services that you are providing. And when I did kind of oppose to one of my consultants, that he was saying you don't need an HR, but I do oppose that. You need to have a human resource department, or even like somebody that knows how to deal with human behavior. Because as a business owner, you are more like an strategic innovator, strategic thinker. But dealing with human behavior is a totally different scope. That's why what motivates them, what's something that can really have a career path to the company. Those are the things that somebody in an HR that needs to understand. How can they develop a long-term plan with their employees, and even simple plan, Coach Jill, for example, appealing to their personal it's personal appeal. Let's say on the birthday of the kids, or the wedding, or
Yeah.
any anniversary celebration. Those are something that the company need to know, because the number one customer of any employer is the employees. Because
Right.
once they are happy, they would consider the workplace not just a workplace but a second home.
Mhm. Well, and a very important change that has also transpired with this great resignation phenomena, economic trend, is the fact that organizations and companies are rethinking their strategies, not just to find the great employees, but how to retain great employees. And I think you have to create that balance. And I think as organization and as a company owner, you need to find creative ways where you empower your employees, and among them are, giving them a say, and creating leadership opportunities for them so that they can be
Yes.
engaged and they can be involved in the direction of the company. At the end of the day, great organizations rely on great employees to propel their vision, to their products, to sell their products, to meet their sales quotas. So it's very important that organizations looked at ways that you can really empower your employees.
Yeah, one thing that you've said that's very important is personal development. Yeah, the personal development, and one company right here where we are, the city of Brownsville, they even have in-house public speaking toastmaster. What they
Mhm.
do, it's a neutral environment, when there's like 1 hour per week where they do just some random 1 hour meeting, and then some random conversation about public speaking. Like they were given one question, it's like a Miss Universe kind of format, but they are allowed to express themselves. And every week there's a particular topic. For example, this topic is motivation, so all they're going to talk about is motivation. The next one would be humor, and those kind of like an icebreaker. And then
Yeah.
as an employer, you started to know, oh, he's exceed, or he excel on this area, or he excel on those weakness. That's why you were saying personal development would also play a vital role of employer. What would be your goal for them? Because it's not just the skills and knowledge, but more so the character to empower them.
Yes, and the other important thing too is the management needs to look at making sure that the managers are also equipped with the attitude, with the
Mm-hmm.
perspective to motivate and engage the employees. Because now that we're seeing so much opportunities, the e-commerce has opened so many opportunities for us to do side hustles. It's not just enough that employees keep one job. People are expanding opportunities and how they could engage themselves in e-commerce, or
Mm-hmm.
multi-level marketing, or even affiliate marketing. So these opportunities has really opened so much during the pandemic. So what's important is to for the organizations to make sure that you truly understand ways that you can motivate your employees and engage them, give them that opportunity to lead up to a leadership role within that organization, Chris. And I think
Exactly.
personality development and empowering them, giving them a chance to, develop their other side of skills and talents, that really is a good way to retain employees.
Yeah, like it reminds me like when you're in school, and then that's why way back before in our school days, school don't care about your extracurricular. They want you to excel on your class from math to
Mhm.
English. But then again, they started to realize that extracurricular is a good point to consider of the academic excellence of the students, which also applies the same. Like if you would be able to have more uh, activities more than the 9 to 5 job that they could be part of, like being a leader, that would also triggers them for social development and personal growth. Then one thing that you've said is about leadership. It all also boils down that when they feel that they belong, and then they have the sense of ownership, it's also important for employer to have that kind of ownership that you will give and delegate instead of micromanaging them. This one company, Jill, where we work, he owns a hotel. What happened, like every year, So he's giving, for example, this is your fourth year or fifth year in the company, he's getting 5% to the
Mm.
company. So the longer that he stay to the company, the number of years, that's his commission on the next following years. Then he becomes a team leader. He's been sent, the employee has been sent to any leadership training, because every city I know they have a leadership training skills that been conducted once a month, para so they can grow their
Yeah.
network
Mm.
also.
Mm. Chris, I remember when I was working in one very stressful working environment. Can you
Hmm.
hear me?
Yeah, I can really help.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Especially during the pandemic, it was very challenging. You know, you're trying to balance your work and your personal life, and then your safety. But one of the things that really allowed me to keep my job or keep working was the fact that I had great manager. She mentored me and she allowed me to take a more active and leadership role within the organization. So
Hmm.
again, when we have great managers that have that great attitude, that's empowering, that's affirming, you are more likely to see retention of people. At the end of the day, the pandemic also gave us an opportunity to reflect on the workplace. We want to make sure that the workplace creates opportunities where you can take off when there is death in the family,
Hmm.
when your child is sick. And the other thing too is we've seen where the flex time has been a very important
Yes.
component when people
Hmm.
look at benefits, because it does matter when you're able to take off and spend time with your family. Here in America, we're so focused on working as much hours as we can, but we tend to forget important things like our family and friendship. And so
Hmm.
this pandemic gave us a time to reflect, a time to reassess what are those priorities that matters. At the end of the day, it's when we're able to create that balance
Yeah.
between our work and the demands of our personal life that we are able to keep our job very well and perform very well, Chris. That's very important. It's not just enough to clock in, it's very important to perform. And when you have a workplace that supports you, that provides you with the training, that gives you all the resources to be able to sell your product, to be able to engage your customers to close that sale, when you have those, I think you're going to be more productive as an individual.
Yeah, the flexibility, what you mentioned before you joined, we already that is one of the reasons, is the lack of flexibility in the workplace. That's why the what Darwin was saying a while ago, the company need to have, when the employee reach a certain amount of sales, let's say the productions or the performance based evaluation, the flexibility of time and workplace can be offered. There's
Mhm.
always like a core hours. For example, you're open from 9 to 5 p.m. And but if your employee reach certain sales that they are required to, they can be flexible. Instead of working 9 to 5, they can work from home, but they need to be answering phone or answering emails from, let's say, 1 to 5 from their client. And that's
Mhm.
why in the morning they have so many time with their family, they can eat together, they can spend quality time. Those are the things that suggested to them, that the employer says, do that the HR was saying, do not manage the person, but you manage the expectation.
Very good.
Mhm. Then also, like, the other thing I think for you to retain, maybe they want to, what do you call that, they could also go to some training. For example, maybe they want to pursue their educational or career from accountant, they want to be CPA. Maybe there's also a scholarship
Mhm.
grant that some employers can do. And even like policies like insurance, that they can be part of,
Yes.
disability. Those are the things that they can also engage them. And then
Mhm.
also mga gift card, travel, when the most important for the employer is to have a survey, like every now and then, before even the onboarding, ano ba yung what are the expectations of employees to the company, so they at least they could tailor fit, and they can create this employee engagement to the company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, the other thing too, I was reading the Wall Street Journal and they were exploring what are the reasons why people are resigning. Two
Mm-hmm.
of the most very important reasons that people are demanding or wanting to have is really more autonomy of the direction of their careers
Mm-hmm.
and also the flexibility, because these two things are very important. When
Yeah.
you have autonomy, you have more control over
Mm-hmm.
where your growth is. It's important that we see our growth, that when you're an employee, when you work for an organizations, that you feel that you are growing with the company. And I've seen like big companies like Walmart and Amazon, they're offering scholarships for their employees as a way to motivate them, that they're
Yes.
not just plain employees, but rather that they will grow alongside with the company, because growth and your development as a human being is as important as your skill as a worker. So those things needs to be aligned, and that's why to me it's great resignation is really a realignment, a reassessment of our priorities. What really makes us more powerful, it is when
Mm-hmm.
we find purpose and meaning with the things that we do at work.
Yes, correct. That's why I would like to acknowledge MJD. She actually commented that she agree with that it's not just the rate or the hour, but it's more about, she said, she agreed that she think that attitude is one thing, but motivating and keeping employees engaged make a whole lot of difference.
Mhm.
And I would like to supplement what MJ said, because in the Maslow hierarchy of need, everybody's familiar with the Maslow hierarchy of need. There's like a pyramid. It's a pyramid scale where when the basic foundation for a person to go to the next level is physiological, like let's say the food, shelter, clothing. That if
Mhm.
that is satisfied, they will go move to the next level, right? When you're a kid, you want to be belong, love and belongingness. So that's the reason why when kids already have the shelter, clothing, food, they want to be belong in a group, they want to have best friend, they want to be in a relationship. Then after that, there will be the self-esteem will develop, and then self-esteem, then self-actualization. That is the Maslow's hierarchy of need. As an employer and HR, we need to suffice that. Like if you already providing them the monthly paycheck, then they need to belong. Then after they belong to something, you need to boost their esteem, and then so
Mhm.
they can actualize. That is
Mhm.
what they suggest. Like what you were saying, is basically let them lead, and then let them make feel like they're very valuable. But also what I've learned as an entrepreneur, you are not, do not assume that you're the boss. You are actually a leader, because boss is a title. And for me,
Yeah.
do not, this is what I'm telling to my employees, and everybody can oppose, I don't want you to call me sir. Okay? Don't call me sir, because I do believe that we are in a parallel growth.
Yeah.
Just call me by my name, Chris. Because if I would because a lot of people will think, oh, if I call you boss, I show respect. And that's not how I feel that respect is being done or being shown. The respect is when you turn your back on them. What do they think about you? And what do they feel about you? Because if you're calling me boss, Jill, and then at the end of the day, you're in the bar eating with your friends, and then you're talking bad things about your boss, I would rather just call me Chris. Because
Right.
for me, like Maya Angelou said, people will forget what you said, what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That's why what our listener was saying, it's all about motivating, empowering them, because boss
Right.
is a position, but being a leader is a responsibility. You have to really let them feel that they are engaged, they belong, and then they have an opportunity to grow.
Mhm. One of my friend was saying that the great resignation.
Jill,
Yes.
are you
Go ahead.
there?
Yes,
No, no,
I'm
no.
here.
You kind of cut off, so you have to repeat like
Yeah.
3 seconds what you've said.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So my friend was what she was saying was the fact that during the pandemic, it really made her assess her own priority. And it's, I think it's human nature to always go back to what really makes you happy, what's gonna make you, what's gonna validate your true existence as humanity. And to me, like personally, a leader allows someone, when you work with someone like a manager, and who has the qualities of being a leader. A leader to me is someone that empowers their employees, that knows how to delegate tasks and
Mm-hmm.
provide the employees the resources to be successful in the task given. Then those qualities are very important because it creates a working environment that is affirming and supportive to the growth of the employees. Like what you were also saying, in the Philippines, there is that unique culture where, you know, the hierarchy is really more vertical. Like I'm the boss, you're the employees.
Yes,
Here in
it's
America,
cultural.
it's different. Yeah, there
Mm-hmm.
is that cultural difference. Here in America, in most organizations that I work with, they usually shun from calling your boss as sir or ma'am, because they want to treat you equally. And I think that horizontal, where everybody is treated equal, and you know you are judged by the value that you bring into the table. You are judged by the competence and the skills that you bring to the table. So that's a very unique perspective that we need to look at. Like I prefer to be in an organizations where leaders are developed and honed and are supported, because at the end of the day, the strength of the organization, the success of the company lies when you've got great leaders within your company.
Yeah, that's why we are only as strong as our weakest link.
Yes.
I remember when I attended the boot camp. I spoke to the CEO of the bank, one of the largest bank in the city. He said what he shared enable for him to keep the morale of the employees. There random time that he visit even the lowest position. He visit in the morning and then say hi to them, just being casual, like, hey, how's it
Mhm.
going, welcome to the company. And that is very valuable for an employee to be like noticed by a CEO of the bank.
Mhm.
That's why I said, oh, so that's one thing that really good about having trying to touch base with them, because as a
Yeah.
CEO you've been from the bottom all the way up, and having just simple good morning to them would really make a big difference. Then actually MJ has a very good input too, and I'm gonna read it. She said, "A leader is holistically different from a boss. A lot of people want to be recognized as a boss, but do not possess leadership skills. A leader is a walking compass."
Chris, what would be good quality of a leader?
You need to have to be an active listener. That is why we have two ears and one mouth, because we
Mhm.
need to listen more and talk less. That is one thing that I've realized, because if all the input is coming from you, remember a feedback from the employee, it's a good also form on how can you develop them, and based on their feedback you can come out with a game plan.
Right.
That is
Mhm.
one thing. What else do you think should be the leader
Mhm.
possess, Jill? So
Yes. So
the
to me, did I hear your question? Because you were cut off.
I was
I
cut off.
do
So
I
for
do
me,
like, yeah, I do like what MG was saying, that
mhm,
you know, there is a difference between being a boss and being a leader. Like in the things that I do, I always want to empower people, and I want to just don't bring them in as part of the members, but I want to train them. I want to mentor them to become great leaders, because for me, the quality of a great leader is someone who has a vision and someone
yes,
who takes
mhm,
massive action and uses their resources within herself or around her himself to be able to accomplish the goals that you know you've set forth. And
mhm,
the other thing to is the important qualities of being a leader is that you have to be a good listener, like what said, but
Yes.
you're also a great motivator. You bring out the best in the people around you. Chris, at the end of the day, the things that we do, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you are a boss, or whether you're a manager, or whether you are a president or a CEO of your company, it's how we think as a leader that brings out the best around us. When we provide those opportunities for people below us or behind us, or close to us, when we give them the opportunities to rise up and shine and become a true leader, that to me is a true mark of what's a great leader. You don't just create followers, you're creating people who can think, who can behave and act like leaders. And that's how you change a great organization.
Yeah, and MJ, she said that a leader should be a good and positive influencer,
Yes. Hmm. I
and
like
that's
that.
what. Yeah,
Yeah.
but and I also one thing that it reminds me of this quote: if your action empowers others to be more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are considered a leader.
Hmm. Right.
Then
Right.
one thing I also avoid is conversation, very polarizing topic or
Topic.
conversation
Hmm.
like this, politics, religion. I step away from that. We have policies on that. I do not want
Yeah.
to create that kind of conversation because that's not. I let them have that, but I do not
Hmm.
do such political conversation, especially if you're a leader of an organization.
Hmm. Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Then MJ also, she said, "Wow, MJ, next time you should be our guest." Because MJD, she said, "A leader should be mutable. He knows how to speak the language of the RNF and accustoms himself well with the C-level people." Yes, it's. My mom always said. She said that Chris, when I used to work in the hospital, I kind of really I was full of stress dealing with doctors because
Hmm.
some doctors are very they have this high intense of stress. I do understand because we're dealing with the life and death during the operating room. She said to me when I was about to quit my job, she said, "Chris, just remember that you need to know how to dance to the beat of the song." So what she was
Yeah.
saying, you need to know how to blend, and that's
Hmm.
something I always take it. So if I in a corporate level I do talk their language, but if I'm
Right.
in my with my employees, I don't want to be very technical of my conversation. According to your metrics, you reach whatever 3 point something, you need to be at the 4.5. I don't, it's
Hmm.
very something that you need to loosen up a little, and then also
Chris.
yes
Mhm.
we.
A true leader also speak a very unique language of empowerment,
Mhm,
of involvement and engagement. So those are things that's very important as we strive to become great leaders in our community. We need to, be mindful of that understanding that the privilege of being a leader is not just, the appointment or the influence that comes with it, but rather the responsibility to empower others, to give them that space, and where people can grow, where people can be involved, can contribute. That to me is my definition of what a true leader should be. And one of my biggest takeaway from all of this
Mhm,
great resignation, it allowed me to reassess and realign my values and what I find is consistent with my purpose and how I'm gonna use my resources around me so I can fulfill my highest potential both as a leader and as an entrepreneur. So
mhm.
again, we need not be sad or anxious about the great resignation phenomena, but rather we take this as a moment to reflect what can really learn from this. And one of the things that we can learn is that moment when you reflect and you reassess what you want, you become more powerful and you become more engaged in your day-to-day activities. And that's what gave me a lot of energy to refocus and really only follow the things that's going to bring value to me and to myself, my family, and my community, Chris.
Yeah, that's why I remember Alibaba, Jack Ma. during they even suffered with the pandemic before with SARS. They even do karaoke. They do the handstand, all of those. Do not take the position you as a business too seriously. You have to loosen up, live day by day. Then and then he even throw this concert with the costume. One of the one that I really followed is him, and that's why I said we have to walk our talk and talk our walk.
Yeah.
We are an employee of our own company, so we can assess what really drives the company to growth. Having my greatest takeaway is what you need as employer. You need to have a mission, vision, and core values of the company, and it needs to be done and reminded everywhere you go. This is one of the training that they did to us. Is you need to have that on the kitchen. You need to post it on the lobby. What is the mission, vision, and core values of the company? Then do an evaluation at least every 3 months and
Mm-hmm.
have a getaway, like do something different, not just in the office. It could be go
Mm-hmm.
travel or go to the resort or eat in a fine dining restaurant. I'm watching that Netflix show, the Selling Sunset, and they always eat in a fine dining restaurant.
Right.
Okay, there you go. I think we can wrap this up already. I really enjoy the Thursday live chat. Is something that we're looking forward, guys. For if you have any comment or any feedback on our conversation, feel free to reach us. And also, what if you need consultation in terms of personal branding or life coach? Coach Jill is here to help you. And if you want to build how to learn on building a six-figure revenue in less than a year in a virtual and digital economy, I'm here to help you. And just
Mm-hmm.
reach us to us, and also let us know what other topics you want us to discuss. So on the next Thursday live chat, we do it every second and fourth of the month. Again, guys, thank you for participating. Thank you everyone for listening, and everybody have a good day ahead and stay safe. Thank you, Coach Jill.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Chris.